Hi guys, today I want to talk to you about the evolution of Jorge Hernandez. And who is Jorge Hernandez? If you're not sure, it's my protagonist in the series I'm working on. I shouldn't say working on, I'm like 7-8 books in, but the series I'm constantly working on and have a few books out and stuff like that. Go to mimaandfired.com and you will find information on the series and all the books, and you know what I'm talking about if you don't right now. Anyways, he is a former cartel guy, very dangerous, very bold. He's very confident, a little bit overly confident at times. And if you read the series or have read the series, you'll see that he does evolve a little bit. He's still dangerous. He still has his, the characteristics that make him him, but throughout the series you do see his ideas change a bit. Like in the first book that he's really in, I should say the second book, he kind of makes a little appearance and Always Be a Wolf, but then he comes in The Devil's Smooth Like Honey. It's kind of, the book centers on him and from that point on. But in that book I find that he really has a bit of a misogynistic view of women, and he's very frustrated with women, like in the very first chapter or so, because I think he had a few run-ins just on his day's travel from Mexico to Canada. He's like a little frustrated. He's like, oh, women, whatever. They seem to cause him a lot of problems in his personal life and so on. And then, of course that changes because he starts getting involved with Paige, and he has his daughter with him full time, and you see him kind of changing throughout the series, where he goes from complaining and finding fault probably with women to saying how he thinks women are very powerful, and that he doesn't think they realize just how powerful they are, and how he appreciates a strong woman. And it's really kind of nice, and it's not something I expected when I started, but I can see him sort of changing his view. The more he was with Paige, the more he has his daughter around, and he really, before, his ex used to kind of be the primary caregiver. So, I mean, he didn't see her all the time because he was traveling a lot and that kind of thing. So, it kind of gives him an opportunity to really see a young girl growing into a woman, an adult woman who's different from the ones that maybe he'd encountered in the past. So he starts to see them differently. And that's one way he's evolved. He, of course, was in the cartel. That kind of ravels away as time goes on, which is unusual because if you're with the cartel, you usually end up in prison, or you die, or you're severely injured, but you're probably going to die. And this guy isn't. He's like that small 1% who didn't go to prison and who didn't die and was never seriously injured. So, in a way, I think he begins to realize that he's getting that second chance, that he's very lucky, because it's very rare. And even, people that are in the series with him, you start to see that he's close to have died, and he's mentioned it. At least one character. We won't get into that. But he sort of evolves where he has, even though he still wants power and pushes to get power, he has a bit of a social conscience. He sort of has a bone to pick with Big Pharma, but they're kind of his nemesis because, he's the biggest pot seller in the country in the series eventually, and so he kind of goes head to head with them. But there's a social conscience too, because he sees what they're, and it's ironic because he used to be in the cartel, so he sold drugs that hurt people, but it's almost like he turns that out on them. Instead of thinking, I did that once, he's like, you guys are the enemy. He has a way of twisting things to his advantage. But the point is the series goes on, I see more of a social conscience coming up, and as far as, like, there's that, and he's kind of starting to talk in the book I'm working on now about, big oil. Well, he's talked about that in the last book. The Devil May Lie, or Not the Devil May Lie. Although I think it came up there, The Devil and His Legacy. I have so many books, I can't remember one from the other. Anyway, and he talks about how he calls Big Oil the cartel of Canada. You know, he talks a lot about kind of what these companies do. When he gets into politics in The Devil May Lie, he talks about like people in low-income housing, how people are working hard to survive. He seems very conscious of that, even though he himself has a lot of money. But he has an understanding of how society works and his frustrations with it. And I think, you know, more and more that's coming out in the books. And it's kind of, they're still criminals, he's still pushing to be powerful. But he's starting to have a lot of insight into our world and what's kind of really going on and what's important. And I think having a daughter, having a son, both of them, but more so I think a daughter because she's a little older. Son's still pretty young. But whereas daughter's older, she's kind of encountering issues in school, bullying and different things. So he's starting to become much more aware of problems in society. And he talks a lot about, for example, he talks a lot about how he wants better for his daughter. And I think right there it shows he's very different from like when the book started. When the book started, he had concern for his daughter, but it was a little bit different. As time goes on, like she wants to get into acting and different things to be famous, and he's not really crazy on that. And he talks about, which is interesting because we are hearing now a lot about Hollywood and all these kind of scumbag producer people that are going to court. And he talks a lot about that. Like he's actually met these people and he does not want her involved in that. And, he's very aware of everything going on. And he starts getting more stressed and anxious for that reason and looking at life differently. And it complicates him in a way that I think he probably wasn't before. And I think that's good. I mean, characters don't always have to grow, but I think protagonists, major characters do have to grow. We have to see that growth. And really, at the end of the day, they're there to kind of create questions within ourselves. That's why I write. Make you think about things, whether you agree or don't agree with him, whether I agree or don't agree with him. It just sort of brings these ideas to the surface. So, character changes, very important. Evolution. We all need it, baby. Evolution. Like this video, subscribe, all that good stuff would be awesome. Hit the bell. Sign up to my newsletter. You go to mimaandfire.com to find out more about that, how to sign up, more about the series, everything. Have a great day, guys.